So many of us live a rather, privileged life, right? Like if you're listening to this right now, and I just want to remind everybody, if you have the capability to listen to this podcast, is that you are actually living a very, very privileged life. Um, most people don't get access to these kind of things, but, you know, the challenge that I sort of think sometimes is we get in our own heads, right? We start thinking about, the difficulties that we face, and then we get like very tied up in those things. I'm thinking right now, so I'm a researcher, um, and by all means, if somebody was to look at, and somebody had mentioned this recently, and I do get this once in a while, is like if somebody was to look from the outside, they would say, hey, this person is pretty successful, or they've made it, or that they sort of checkbox things. And I don't want to, I'm not sort of, um, I'm not patting myself in the back, I guess, but from the outside world, people would sort of suggest that thing. But if you're in it, if you're doing the research thing, you'll realize that it's an incredibly lonely endeavor, and you get in your mind a lot, right? And you're thinking that you're not good enough and that you're sort of competing with the market. The market is outpacing you. There are a lot of people that are doing far better than you, right? And then for myself, I often think like, hey, I have like no mobility, right? Like it's hard to sort of move around in the marketplace. Um, the mobility in the career is it's slim to none, right? Like people don't they once they get into a position, it's hard to move around. People think that it's easy to do, but it's really not, and there's just not a lot of opportunities that exist, and all of these kind of things. Like I get into my head, and I think I'm pretty normal with this. I get in my head, and I start being like I can't do this, and I'm not good enough, and everybody else is doing so much better than me, and that's these thoughts are a regular basis, right? Like I would imagine, how you hear these sort of statistics that, people think about sex like, I don't know, 20 times a day. If you're a researcher, you're probably thinking about how, um, not good you are, probably 20 times a day, right? And you're reflecting on that in various different aspects, and you're constantly getting a lot of negative feedback. And I just want everybody to take a step back, a collective step back, and no matter what stage you're at, right? If you're able to do research at this moment, I want you to reflect on how remarkable and super cool that actually is. That you're able to actually do that. Most people, um, and there's this sort of famous Dunning-Kruger effect. I don't know if you've heard of that, but lots of sort of pop culture stuff, people talk about that, where, the vast majority of the people don't even realize what they don't know. And you have this privileged moment of reflecting on all the things that you don't know and that you're sort of problematic, um, and all these sort of limitations that you have. And I think about that as even the fact, I think about this, who are the majority of the people that are on Earth right now? They're dead. They are not on Earth. They are, they've, they've lived in the past. And now I think, that might be changing with the sort of population of the Earth, but the majority of all of us are not around right now. So I want you to reflect on that. I know that sounds like really gruesome, and I know that sounds very morbid. So what does that actually mean then? Right? The longest ancestors that we know are from 5 million years ago. That means that there's a lot of stuff that you should go for, that you should pursue, that's very exciting in a very short amount of time. Because frankly, it just disappears. It goes extremely quickly. And each one of those moments that you dedicate to doing something, whether it is, um, whether it's writing, whether it is talking to people, whether it is, um, whether it's looking at data, whether it's sitting in the classroom, whether it's talking to deans, whether it's whatever, you sure as hell better be thinking about, is this making me feel happy and fulfilled? And if not, start making those damn changes in your life that get you to that. Right? Start thinking about that. It's just such a short life. And, this was such a big moment of revelation for me. And it really was the only way that I was able to sort of speak about this is me just being open of, wait a minute, we can do better. This career, the way that we sort of set up these things, and we have these weird structures where you can't do that and you can't do this because somebody is going to say something. Fuck it. Like, seriously, go and do those things that make you feel good at this moment. And if somebody doesn't like that, you will be able to find opportunities all over the world because you are an outstanding person and you are incredible. Just a simple fact of you being here and listening to this. And that's a really low bar, an incredibly low bar, right? But it is a bar that most people in this world don't get access to. And that means that you're living a privileged life. That means that you should just look around and say, well, shoot, go be friggin' awesome today. Live your life. So what if somebody's going to look down their nose with you or make you feel terrible for a brief moment? Get those people out of your life, right? Like actively figure out a way to get those people out of your life and start finding your community of people that make you feel awesome, that make you feel excited, that that you can get excited about. And that community is probably going to be small. That community might be you. Maybe that community is two other people. But, finding that tiny little community and making yourself feel good, making yourself feel fulfilled, that's all that matters. Go and do those things. Make sure that you're pursuing things that make you feel amazing. And I'm not saying you have to be happy in the very moment, but you damn well see that there is something that you're doing this for that gives you inspiration, that makes you just feel complete. That that you're doing this, you're putting in this time for something that's bigger than you. If you don't feel like that, if that's not what's going on inside, if that is, all of those things that you're missing out on in life and you sort of feel those things, figure out a way to change it. Figure out a way to start pursuing things that you just love. And if that means that you have to quit the career, if that means that you have to find a different place, if that means all these kind of things, go do that. Figure it out. Start working towards that. Figure out what that means and start going crazy with that. Like I realize that there's aspects of what I do that didn't necessarily like, but man, I sure as hell am enjoying this reciprocity journey and going through it and being excited and talking to you and having the ups and downs and being able to explain all these kind of things and banging my head against the wall. I feel very energized every day. And I hope you find something like that in your life too, whatever that means. That that's your thing, that you feel fulfilled with that. I hope you find that thing in your life where you can stand up and say, I did that. And I think that's important. I think that's going to change the world. And I think everybody should pursue those things, figure it out what it is, and go after them. Quit worrying about what the market is going to tell you to do. You're going to wake up one day and realize, what the hell did I just do for 25 years? Go do those cool things. I think you can do it.